Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. Today we'll be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 20, Part 2. So in the last class we covered the rainy season in Vṛndāvana. Today we'll be looking at the rainy season in summary. So if you missed the last class, don't worry. We will be covering those aspects as well as the autumn season and how the autumn season is so auspicious. It prepares us for the wonderful pastimes that Lord shares with the gopis afterwards. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udiryet
Tato Jayamudiri
Shavatam Sva Katha Krishna
Shravtam Sa Katha Krishna
Punya Shavana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto Bhadrani
Vedantastoya Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Suhatsatam
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavti Naistiki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So today we'll be covering, again, continuing from the part 1 that we covered the rainy season in Vṛndāvana. So we'll be covering this chapter, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th canto, chapter 20, the rainy season and the autumn in Vṛndāvana. So here we'll quickly cover the various metaphors. Now it is very interesting that sometimes people ask that why are there so many metaphors and analogies? And what's the difference between a metaphor and an analogy? Metaphor is when you look at something and it reminds you of something, So here, various occurrences are described which happen during the rainy season and also during the autumn season. And when you look at those, you're reminded of other aspects. So when Shukdev Goswami is narrating the rainy season and the autumn season in Vṛndāvana, he is reminded of, he's looking at those as metaphors for various kind of situations. And Jiva Goswami describes it even better, where he is even going beyond what Shukdev Goswami has described. Shukdev Goswami is sometimes looking at one metaphor and describing it with respect to either pure or impure soul. When Jiva Goswami in his commentaries is revealing the same metaphor and how it reminds the mind of a pure personality and also of an impure personality. And now what's the difference between analogy and metaphor? Analogy is something that is given so that we can understand the subject matter at hand. So if somebody tells you that it's raining outside, it's pouring cats and dogs, you can relate to it. But then just by saying the word cats and dogs, they are adding it that, they are using like Ati Shokti. They are using it as a metaphor to make you realize that it's heavy rain. When you go outside, you'll get drenched instantly. You won't even have a moment to recover from it. So analogies, rather difference from analogies from metaphor is that it helps you understand the subject matter. So sometimes when a subject matter is very difficult to understand, then an analogy is used to simplify that. And it's very interesting. Srila Prabhupada used analogies in Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all of his books. And interesting enough, Srila Prabhupada gave an analogy for the analogy. So it's very interesting when you try to understand this analogy. Somebody is trying to understand analogy, and how would they understand the analogy? So he gave an analogy for the analogy. So at night, if it's clear sky, and you are trying to find the movement of the moon in the sky as it's traveling. Now if you're just looking at the moon and it's all bright sky, you may not be able to understand the movement of the moon. However, if you see the same moon, through the branches of a tree, so now that the branches of the tree are relatively closer to you, and moon is far away, and these branches are stable provided you stay stationary. So you are stationary, so these branches are stationary to you relatively, and now the moon is moving, and because it's going from one branch to another, to another, to another, you can understand the movement of the moon. So this is an analogy for the analogy. So it's very interesting that various metaphors are being used, and we'll quickly go through the metaphors that were covered. But it starts with that sublime pastimes that happened in the previous 2 chapters. All the cowherd boys, when they returned back with the cows, bulls and oxen, in the evening, they were singing glories of Krishna and Balaram. Why are they singing glories of Balaram? Because Balaram had killed the Pralamba demon. So the Pralamba demon was annihilated. Paritranaya sadhana vinashaya cha dushkritam. So this is the vinash. And what does Pralambasura represent? What does he represent? He represents lusty inclinations for women, wealth, property, name, fame and glories. Now, when it said women, for men it's women and for women it's men. So we have to understand there is the opposite sex that, causes the lusty desire. So lusty desire to attain and enjoy the opposite sex. So this is when you hear about the pastime of Pralambasura, when you read it and when you study it nicely, then all those anarthas, all the lusty desires, they wash away. But because this particular demon has been killed by Balaram, it is different. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that when a demon is killed by Balaram, and there were 2 demons who were killed. One was Dhenukasura and now Pralambasura. For them, for the anarthas they represent, you have to pray to Lord and pray to your spiritual master so that these lusty desires wash away. And by the mercy of the Lord, they will wash away. By the mercy of the spiritual master, by the mercy of the disciplic succession and the acharyas, it will wash away. Now, second is, Krishna has been glorified because he swallowed the forest fire. So this is the second forest fire. And so they are glorifying. And all the Vrindavan Vasis, all the residents of Vrindavan, the elderly cowherd men and the elderly gopis, they were all astonished to hear. They were amazed when they heard how Krishna and Balaram had been performing these superhuman feats. And so they concluded that Krishna and Balaram must be exalted demigods who have taken birth in Vrindavan. And they were constantly reminded of the revelation that was given to them by Gargamuni. Gargamuni had revealed to them when he was doing the name-giving ceremony of Krishna. At that time, he had revealed that Krishna would be relieving all the residents of Vṛndāvana from the ill effects, from the various disturbances that may come in their life. And they are seeing it firsthand. They are experiencing it firsthand. Previously, the whole of Vṛndāvana, all the residents of Vṛndāvana were saved after subduing Kaliya when there was a forest fire. And this time, all the cowherd boys, along with all the cows, oxen and bulls, all of them were saved, which is, their livelihood and their life and soul. And Krishna is their life and soul. So they are singing glories of Krishna, completely immersed. And at that time, rainy season comes. Now, transcendentalists, they use the rainy season, the Chaturmasya, the 4 months when it constantly pours heavily outside. They use this time to do studies and to engage in, devotional services and engage in conversations. Now, why is that happening? Because people are not able to go out, right? Because there is rain pouring outside, people are not able to go outside the house. Animals are not able to go outside their animal sheds, the cow sheds and so forth. Now currently with coronavirus, we are in a similar situation. We are all homebound, we are all in lockdown status and we cannot go out. So these metaphors have a different meaning for us, right? And one of my godbrother, he's a doctor, he's actually a surgeon and he is on the front line. And he was calling this coronavirus, Karuna virus from Mother Earth's perspective. He said this material world is relative. And from that relative vision, what is miserable to us is actually blessing to another. And one of the metaphor here is said is because when the rain is pouring, the farmers are happy because they're getting the water for the irrigation. And since water is blessing for them. Yet at the same time, people living in the cities, they think that this is not a good thing. They are feeling miserable, they are feeling disgusted because they can't go out and enjoy their life as normally they would like to do. So what is good for one is bad for another. And that is the nature of this material world. So we have to also understand, and we get an understanding of this material world as how we should be looking through the eyes of Shastra in the absolute state instead of looking at it from the relative state. And when Shukdev Goswami is revealing to Parikshit Maharaj, he is really revealing all these pastimes in Vṛndāvana. So all these metaphors in Vṛndāvana, you are basically looking at it from the devotee's perspective and from the materialist perspective. So there are two perspectives. One who is a non-devotee or antagonistic to the religious principles, wants to defy or demoniac in nature, or one who is engaged in sense gratification, is a materialist. And a devotee is one who is constantly engaged in devotional service and serving Lord Krishna, who is the master of the senses. So just by serving the master of the senses, Rishikesha, one's own senses are pacified. Now, when the rainy season begins, it gives life and sustenance to all. It is very enlivening. What has happened? So let's understand. What comes before rainy season? Summer season. So during the summer season, the sun has absorbed all the water from earth, as well as from lakes and rivers and oceans. So it has accumulated all this. And now Shukdev Goswami is reminded that the kings sometimes extract taxes from the citizens. This is also the tax season here. So again, when the taxes are given, people are deprived of the wealth. Yet at the same time, during the rainy season, the clouds, they pour water. So the sun enables the clouds to become so heavy with water so that they pour water, giving back that wealth in the form of welfare. Because this water, how is it in welfare? Because the water that is coming through rain is reaching the various fields for irrigation. The farmers don't have to carry the water to their fields, it's automatically coming there. So that is the metaphor here. That when it's coming to the fields automatically through clouds, it is very blissful for the farmers. And now, during the rainy season, three things appear, right? First is actually four aspects. First is the clear sky is covered now with clouds. And what's happening? There is lightning, thunder and clouds. That's what is visible. There is constant lightning happening, occurring in the sky among the different groups of clouds, as well as the sound of thunder is coming. So now Śrīmad Goswami is describing that this lightning is mode of goodness. The thunder, the sound, because it's like, showing some passionate features in the mode of passion. And the clouds which are dark, covering everything, are in the mode of ignorance. So these are the three modes of material nature. And what are they covering? They are covering the clean sky. So you cannot see the clear sky. And that is represented by soul. So in this metaphor, the soul is being covered by the three modes of material nature, and one becomes conditioned in this, when one associates with the body. So when we take birth in the material world, we become conditioned under the influence of the three modes of material nature. However, we know that Lord Krishna is not affected by these three modes, because he says, Devi hi esha gudamai mama maya duratyaya. So these material energy, which is gudamai, the three modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, sattva guna, mode of passion, rajaguna, and mode of ignorance, tamoguna. So these three modes of material nature only influence the living entities when we are in contact with matter. So when we have this material body. However, Lord Krishna is the Lord of material energy. And he is revealing in this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Devi Yesham Gudamai. So she is the Gudamai. And Guru also means, it's not the Zachary, it is, Guru also means the knot, the ropes. So we are actually in shackles. We are like puppets, because the soul only can have desire, and all those desires are permitted. The overseer permitted in the heart of a living entity is Super Soul, Lord Krishna. So as Super Soul, Lord is permitting. So that is a saying, man proposes, God disposes. So not all desires get fulfilled, because some are fulfilled as granted by Lord Krishna by his mercy, and some are not fulfilled because he also is our best friend, right? Surya Sarva Bhutanam. He is the best friend of all living entities. So he does not fulfill some desires which could be causing us harm. And when those desires, the ones that are fulfilled, we feel joyful. And that is the relativity. This is where we should be joyful whether they are fulfilled or not, because Lord always seeks our benefit. And so, covered by the three modes, but Lord is revealing, Devi hi esha gurumai mam maya duratya mamevya prapadante mayame tantarantite. So whoever surrenders to Lord Krishna's lotus feet can easily overcome these three modes of material nature. So in rainy season, it is very nicely described by Śrīmad Goswami that the pure soul, which is the sky, is completely covered by lightning, thunder and clouds. And now, sun is releasing the wealth, like we discussed. The clouds are, gathering all that water evaporated from the earth, from the lakes, from the rivers, from the ocean. So these clouds, which are now pouring this as rain, are appearing like, the munificent kings and a rich person who is distributing the wealth that they have accumulated for the benefit of others. Now, Jiva Goswami in his commentaries revealed that it is also like the pure souls, the sages, the saintly persons. So personalities, they are revealing, they are giving the spiritual knowledge, they are spreading and preaching the spiritual knowledge all over the place, all over the world, so that people may benefit from it. So there is a material aspect that the king is giving, and distributing and engaging the wealth that they have accumulated in welfare activities. Rich person is giving wealth as in charity. So those are material metaphors. But the spiritual metaphor is a pure person, a saintly person, a sadhu. He is the Sant Mahatma. They are distributing all this knowledge, the true knowledge. Raj Vidya, Raj Goyam, Pavitram Idamuttamam. So this is the Raj Vidya, the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, the transcendental knowledge. Because who does it benefit? It benefits every living entity to awaken us from this slumber, the sleep that we are in under the three modes of material nature, so we can awaken and go, become conscious of our purpose. Why am I here? Why am I suffering? What is the purpose in life? How can I get out of this? And how can you come out? So they revealed the necessary aspects, that there is a relationship we have with the Supreme Lord, Sambandha. And to reawaken that Sambandha, all we have to do is raise our hand and chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Mahamantra is a prayer that we are calling out to the Lord to please engage us through Mother, Radharani, Mother Hara, to engage us in His service. So that way we are praying, which is one of the 9 processes of devotional service. So we engage in devotional service, and that is abhideya, that is the process. We have to follow the process. And then what is prayojana is the goal. What is the goal? That we want to attain the love of Godhead. And when we attain the love of Godhead by the mercy of the Lord and constantly endeavoring us and engaging ourselves and our senses in the devotional service, the process of devotional service, we will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. So here, Shukdev Goswami is revealing amazing metaphors, to Parikshit Maharaj, who has been fasting for almost 5-6 days now, but he is not feeling any hunger, any thirst. Even when he is hearing that all the water has been taken away because of the sun and the water is pouring, even though the subject matters that are being discussed are related to thirst and hunger, he is not feeling. Why? Because this is Isha Katha, Ishanu Katha. So this is the glories of Lord Krishna. He is hearing the glories of Lord Krishna, which are sweet, which are fully relishing, which are fully satisfying to all the senses. So none of the senses could be agitated at such times. So just like a merciful person, these clouds, they are giving their lives for the benefit of all, just like the sadhus, the sons. And Srila Prabhupada in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in that book, he is revealing that these clouds are just like rich men who distribute it at the time of needs, their wealth. They even open their treasury and their property, and they give it so freely that sometimes they empty it. So this is how the clouds are pouring rain to the point that they would completely be, empty. They wouldn't have any more rain to give. While at the same time, when the water is pouring from the clouds in the form of raindrops, earth, which was actually had become thin, which had become dry, is suddenly getting nourishment. And it's appearing all green. So the green grass is growing everywhere. The trees are growing very nicely. So earth is looking very much nourished. And so being nourished, it appears. So there are amazing metaphors given. One of the metaphors given is when someone who is engaged in sense gratification, and so when they engage too much in eating, they become big, right? So similarly, when one is engaged in austerities, so that is like the summer season, when a devotee is engaged in severe austerities, and austerity, Srila Prabhupada said, should be only performed in spiritual advancement. They should not be performed for material, sense gratification. And there's a very nice example. Once Srila Prabhupada was walking, and he would go out on morning walks. On this particular occasion, he was walking with his 2 lady disciples. So as they were walking, they came to a, traffic signal. And at that point, what happened was, on the other side of the road, this is winter season, when he was, with his lady disciples, 2 of them. And on the other side, there were 2-3 girls, young girls. They were standing. And so, these girls were in very flimsy clothes. Their legs were bare, their arms were bare, and they were, wearing heavy makeup. And at that time, the 2 ladies disciples, they looked at each other. And Srila Prabhupada was smiling, looking at them, and then looking at the girls. They said, see, you are performing austerities to serve Lord Krishna. They are performing austerities to just satisfy their senses. And now the lady disciples afterwards discussed that how they were in that situation earlier, but they were saved by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, all glories to the spiritual masters. So they save us like the merciful persons. They come in our life and they save us, they take us across, and they completely transform our lives. And so just like that, when the body becomes thin because of austerities, and one should perform austerities when because when one wants to engage in devotional service, want to make spiritual advancement, then those austerities should be performed. Now, family man performs austerities by going to work, traveling long distances, working very hard all day. These are the ones which have been instructed by the acharyas that one should work just enough to maintain oneself and one's family. Over and Jiva will cause fall down. What happens? This is a general tendency. When you work very hard, trying to, make wealth, and you say, oh, I have worked too hard, now I want to rest and enjoy. The next thing that follows is sense gratification. You forget yourself and you start serving your senses unknowingly. You say, oh, I have worked too hard, I have been completely deprived of all the luxuries of life, and I was working so hard. Now all the fruits that's coming is actually for me to enjoy. And when you have that mindset that is for me to enjoy, that's the fall down. That's where the fall down happens, because everything we get in this world is coming from Lord Krishna. So everything should be engaged in Lord Krishna's service. So that's how we should be looking at it. And so when we engage in Lord Krishna's service, we get spiritual happiness, we get peace of mind. But when we try to engage the fruits of our austerities in sense gratification, then we get diseases, we get agitation, we get undisturbed mind, we get bewildered, we get anarthas, they grow in our body, the envy grows, the lust further goes, because what's happening? You're putting clarified butter in fire. Do you think fire will burn out? No. It will grow stronger, and that will bewilder you, and you will be in constant miseries, and these miseries will cause more attachment. And it's very nice. I recently came across this very nice way of laying down that aham mameti, I and mine. So when person is focusing as I, right? When they are looking at this I am so and so, I am so and so, then they become envious of others. And when they become envious of others, then they cannot be open and they cannot have any good relationship. And when you don't have good relationship, because you become envious of others, or you think that the others are envious of you. And this is another way envy appears. That when you are envious, but you're thinking, no, the other person is envious of you, then you cannot have a simple, subtle relationship with others. And without a good, loving relationship, you fall down. So the envy grows because you're thinking, oh, I am so and so. You're looking at different designations. That I'm the president of a company, I am a very strong person. I have been in Krishna consciousness for a long time, so everyone should be bowing down to me. So there is various upadhis, they come in. And these upadhis causes one to get bewildered. And in envy, they are killing themselves internally. Another aspect is mine. This is mine and that is mine. So people are, when they are looking at mine, that's where the mind starts thinking to accept things or to even encroach on other things that doesn't belong to oneself, and to reject things. As if you are looking from the material perspective, from relativity, then you are looking at things to accept things which are materially driven, which will give you sense gratification. However, one should always accept that which is beneficial for devotional service and reject those which are not good for devotional service, which are hindrances to devotional service. And that's how you should be looking at everything, because that's on the absolute platform, not the relative platform. This is on the transcendental platform. So when you look from the transcendental platform as what will enable me to engage in devotional service, help me to grow in devotional service, then you engage in those activities, and you would give up all the sense gratificatory activities because they would hamper you, they will stop you in further advancing in your spiritual growth. So earth appeared thin because of the austerities previously, but with summer it started to grow very nicely. It started to feel very nourished. Everywhere there was green grass, the trees are full of leaves, there is nice wind blowing, the flowers are blooming, and so the wind is blowing and the wind is collecting all the fragrance from these flowers, right? And this fragrance is touching all the living entities' bodies. So in Vṛndāvana, when such a nice breeze is flowing and it touches and people smell the fragrance of flowers coming from the forest through breezes, as the breezes are flowing from the lakes and rivers. They're feeling very nice, they're feeling very, contented. And what would happen normally? Lord Krishna, when he would go along with the cowherd boys to take the cows in the morning, and they would come back in the evening, during the day, if it would rain, Lord Krishna and all the cowherd boys, they would go to different caves, because there was a resounding sound which was able to reveal to them that there are caves nearby. Or they would sit in the hollow of a tree, and inside the caves they would play different kind of games. So if thinking like with this current situation, if you are playing board games, then think of like Lord Krishna, he would play Chaucer and so many other games which are like board games with all the cowherd boys. So they would enjoy their times together. During the rainy season, another thing happens, which is that the glowworms, they start glowing, and then at night time the night sky is completely covered with clouds. So the clouds are covering the night sky. People cannot see moon, people cannot see stars. So at that time there is complete darkness. But in this darkness, the glowworms, they are glowing here and there. Now glowworms in the morning have no value, right? Just like a lamp in the morning when sun is out has no value. So just like that, these glowworms are glowing. And now this is where Shukdev Goswami is revealing that just in the age of Kali, the predominance of sinful activities allows atheistic doctrines to overshadow the true knowledge of the Vedas. So the knowledge of the scriptures, the essence, the transcendental knowledge is completely overshadowed, just like the clouds are overshadowing the sky. And what is happening, just like the glowworms are showing up, the atheistic theories and the religions, created with this atheistic mindset, the, rules and regulations propagated in the name of general etiquettes by the materialistic life. So those become prominent, and people are more looking from that perspective. So in this Kali age, atheists or miscreants, they become prominently visible. So that's also another aspect. That in this Kali age, just like the glowworms in the rainy season are visible, the miscreants, they become visible. Now you can think of thieves and rogues becoming visible. Now, on the other hand, in Jiva Goswami's commentary, he used the same situation in a different metaphor. He said, even in this Kali age, when there is no light, sometimes the sky clears up and you can see the moon and the stars, right? So again, when that happens, even in the Kali age, there is opportunity for us to advance. And he even uses that, this glow that the worms have received, they have received it indirectly from sun and moon. So this light is reflected by them. So their great personalities, they appear and they are able to spread the knowledge. And of course, in the Kali age, in this age, Gaurachandra, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he himself appeared to distribute the Sankirtan Yajna, the process of, chanting of the holy name, the congregational chanting of the holy name. And the mantra he gave is the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by chanting this mantra, we all start to glow. So we all start to become shiny. And then sometimes, when we are engaged, again, during the rainy season, another thing that happens is the frogs, they start croaking. And this is just like the brahmacharis, they start chanting when called by their spiritual master, Shukdev Goswami is saying. And Srila Prabhupada in Krishna book, he's very nicely identifying that the brahmacharis, they, under the guidance of a spiritual master, they wake up early in the morning, they attend Mangalati, they start chanting their rounds, fully energized, they engage in devotional service. So that's like, the frogs are croaking. So they are becoming active and they are learning about the scriptures and they are chanting the mantras, they're chanting the holy name. So that's what is happening. And during the rainy season, what happens when there's a lot of water pouring down, and there are generally streams which have become dry during the summer season. Now they start to swell up. And now, because they are swelled up, they stray from the normal course. Now, Shukdev Goswami is revealing it just like, this is the property of the materialist. it starts to go out because they are being urged by the senses to engage in sense gratification. So all this collected wealth, it goes astray, means it just goes away because materialists engage in sense gratification. So they lose the wealth, they lose the time, and they lose the intelligence and the very opportunity in this life to advance. Such is the sorry state of a materialist. So this is being identified. While at the same time, one who is engaged in devotional service, their knowledge, the wisdom grows, and then they start to go astray from the normal route, which is a materialist way of life. So this is Jiva Goswami giving us that when someone was engaged in materialistic life, surviving very badly, when not sufficiently, so drying up, their life was drying up, suddenly with that spiritual and nourishment, they are becoming stronger. And so they start to change their way to make their life spiritual by engaging in devotional service. So their activities are changing, their mindsets are changing, their outlook to life is changing, and so forth. So there are many changes are happening. And just like during the summer season, there is no water, right? It's just seeing water is mirage. So, and the deer and other animals, they think that there is water, but it's actually a reflection of sun. Actually, it's a reflection of sky, which is appearing like water in desert. Even if there is a drop of water in desert, what value does it have? Yet at the same time, when it's rainy season, at the right place, it is very beneficial. Earth, as we said, means with the coming of rains, it becomes green. And there is this gopa, Indra gopa insects, they have reddish hue. And then the mushrooms have white with the shades. So the earth looks very beautiful. And being completely covered with the grass and at places giving these red tinges, it appears like a royal parade of a king. So that's another way of looking. And another way is, as Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in one of his writing was describing, that as when one is enriched with transcendental knowledge, they become enlivened. The true beauty comes out, the true glow comes out. Srila Prabhupada in Krishna book describes very nicely that even though these boys and girls in US, when they came to him, they had good features, but then they did not have much glow in them. And they actually, he used the word wretched. They looked, wretched and ugly and, long hair and not really taking care of themselves, not very clean. But when they engage in devotional service and they started chanting the holy name, they started wearing the saffron clothes, and they started engaging in devotional service, worshipping the deities, cleaning the temple, taking care of each other, their body started glowing because of that spiritual enlightenment that they were getting, the nourishment to the soul that they were getting. And so Srila Prabhupada says that these boys and girls have become so well nourished and so bright faced now with the saffron clothes. When they appear, it seems like the great sages have just come from Vaikuntha, from the spiritual world. They have descended. So such is the transformation that happens in persons. And so there is joy for the farmers and distress for the city people because city people can't go out. Well, farmers are also not able to go out. But automatically the water is coming where it's needed, right? And all creatures, they become attractive because they're getting proper, nourishment for the body. That is just like the devotees, when they are engaged in devotional service, they become fully nourished spiritually, physically, and mentally. So there are three aspects we need to really take care of. The health-wise, we have to look at our physical health, we have to look at our emotional health, our mental health, as well as our spiritual health. And there has to be a balance, because when we are engaging in spiritual advancement, we also have to take care of the body because it's a gift given by the Lord. A healthy mind resides in a healthy body. So if we want to stay healthy, have a healthy mind, which is our friend, we need to make sure that our body is strong and healthy. And also our relationship should be made filled with love, with compassion, with sharing thoughts, with helping each other. The gift of giving is much better gift than gift of taking. Karuna. So again, we should be compassionate. So the passion, we should reduce it like come, make it a little less. So passion, let's, and become more compassion. So that way we should be looking at each other. We should be looking at everyone as Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. And then seeking an opportunity how to enrich this relationship, because the relationship is where we get happiness. And who is in the center? True happiness comes when Lord Krishna is in the center. When we are looking at all the living entities as Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, very dear to Lord Krishna. And so we are serving them so that they feel nourished physically, emotionally, as well as spiritually. We sit together and engage in congregational chanting. We chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And that is the Sankirtan Yajna of this age. So, mountains appear like devotees that are completely undisturbed by these torrents of rains and lightning and thunder that's happening. While the roads, they become covered by the grass and debris. Which is, the metaphor is used by Shukdev Goswami to say when the scriptures, these translated scriptures are not being read by the Brahmanas and not being shared among the community of devotees, then the essence gets lost. And the Vedic essence, when the translated knowledge is lost, these scriptures, they become, not known, so they are hidden. So Brahma Samhita, I'm reminded of this example. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was visiting South India, then he was able to get Brahma Samhita that we recite so nicely. But it is only one chapter, chapter 5 of Brahma Samhita that we have. All the other chapters of Brahma Samhita are lost over a period of time because that scriptures was not nicely shared and maintained by the devotees. So we should be very careful that the transcendental knowledge is rare wealth that we have, and we should be taking care of it and constantly reading Srila Prabhupada's books, enriching our life when we are discussing those topics with devotees. Now, lightning that sometimes appears during the rainy season in one group of clouds and then appears in another group of clouds. And here the clouds are representing virtuous men. So sometimes the lusty women, they are appearing in one, group of men, and then another. They don't even care about the virtuous man in this age, in the age of Kali. So that's also being represented as metaphor. And so another aspect is when there is a lot of rain and then the rain stops and sun starts to shine. Sometimes we see the rainbow, right? And we call it in Hindi Indradhanush, the bow of the Lord Indra, the king of the demigods. And this bow is not string. Generally, a bow is curved because it's string on the ends. But this bow is not string, and this reminds us of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not under the influence of the three modes of material nature. Now, when the clouds, they cover at night the sky and the moon, and they appear to have silver lining around them, this is where it is showing us that the false ego is shining, the materialist way of life is shining, but the shining that they are getting is coming from moon. Similarly, the consciousness the false ego is getting is actually coming from the soul. The soul has, the symptom of the soul is consciousness, chitta, and that is causing the cloud, the false ego, to shine out in different material endeavors. And someone says, oh, you are so wonderful, the material science is so wonderful. But it's actually coming because of the soul. And the soul is there because of the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So similarly, when the moon, which is like, in this case, like a soul, is covered by the false ego. But the false ego is like the cloud, where the consciousness is representing the glow around the cloud. And peacocks, when they see the rainy clouds, the dark clouds, they become joyful, they start dancing. That is like the householders. The peacocks are representing like the householders. They become joyful and they, welcome the saintly personalities. When they see the saintly personalities, they welcome them, they honor them, they serve the saintly personalities, the great saints, the Mahatmas, because they know now this is going to be in our benefit. So peacocks, they are looking at the clouds, they are dancing because they know now there will be rain and there will be all nourishment for the earth and all nourishment for all the living entities, and nice weather will prevail. So that's how they are dancing. And like cranes as the lakes are getting filled and the level is rising, and on the shore there's a lot of debris and sharp grass, they start growing. All the, ducks and cranes and different birds, they are agitated, they are bewildered, because now they are facing all kind of difficulties, but they don't want to give up these lakes, these rivers. So they want to stay there. That is just like the householders who are constantly seeing disturbances coming to them in the family life, but they don't want to engage in spiritual advancement. So again, it is not about giving up in your household life, it is to seek spiritual advancement, so that the miseries that are coming to you, you don't have to suffer through them. Rather, you can transcend them, so that, because miseries you cannot avoid. That's the nature of this world. Dukkhalayam shashvatam. This place is a place of misery, and everything is impermanent here. So just like, distress and happiness, they come and they go, the miseries go as well. But at the same time, when they come, you don't have to suffer. So suffering is optional. So by understanding the wisdom from the Vedas, from the scriptures, from the translated scriptures like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitamrita, you actually transcend those miseries and you're not affected. And when it's flood, they break the irrigation dikes. So the farmers, they have set up the irrigation dikes so that if there is water coming, it gets nicely distributed. But when there is too much water, the flood occurs, and they break away these irrigation dikes. So that is representing, just like in this current times, the false theories, the atheistic theories in the current age. It breaks away, it actually overshadows, it overfloods the Vedic injunctions, the scriptural transcendental knowledge that we have from the scriptures, from the disciplic succession, that is lost. And again, coming back, now Shukdev Goswami is reminded of the clouds when he said that now the kings and the rich people, they are distributing wealth. Then he says that the clouds are actually guided by the wind. So wind guides them to go to different places. Similarly, kings and the rich people, they are impelled by the Brahmanas. And Brahmanas are said to be the spiritual masters of human society. And who's a good Brahmana, a true Brahmana? One who's bona fide, who's a Vaishnava. So a Brahmana who is also a Vaishnava is the perfect person as a spiritual master to guide the king in the right direction, to perform various kind of charities, to engage in various kind of welfare activities. Because there they are seeing that Krishna is in the center, and all charities and all welfare activities are arranged so that it benefits the society to advance spiritually. The Varnashram Dharma is established by the Lord so that everyone can engage in their prescribed duties and make spiritual advancement, ripened state. And all the environment was becoming fully nourished, fully joyful. And when Lord Krishna looked at Vṛndāvana, it looked so beautiful that Lord Krishna paid respect to Vṛndāvana, understanding that all this arrangement has been done by his internal potency, Yog Maya. And now after the rainy season comes autumn season, the fall season. And during the autumn season, all the lotus flowers, they are regenerated. And they appear like the, minds of fallen souls which are suddenly blooming, because all the bodies of water, they get purified, the water becomes clean. You can see the bottom of the shores, at the shores, you can see at the lakes that the water is transparent, the rivers become clean and so forth. So that's like the pure mind of fallen yogis. So they have, all the impurities have been driven away, all the materialistic desires have been driven away. And just like devotional service relieves the four varnas, the varnashram, right, of all the troubles of this material world. Similarly, with the fall coming, with the autumn season, it cleans up all the debris all around. So now the roads which were previously covered during the rainy season by the grass and debris, that washes away. And in autumn season, everything becomes very clean. Now, even at night during the autumn season, if you look at the clouds, they appear white. They are not dark clouds like the rainy clouds. And during the daytime also, they are shining very brightly, So they are like the peaceful sages. These white clouds are like the peaceful sages who are free of all materialistic desire, who are constantly just shining and spreading the sunshine that they're getting. So that's like Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's like the sun who is providing the light, and now these clouds are further brightening up the whole, earth by shining brightly on them. Even at night, the light of the moon is reflected through these white clouds. And so this is the way the light is spreading everywhere. Everything is nicely lighted, and no one is paying attention to the Indragopas or the glowworms at this time. And mountains, they sometimes release water during the autumn, and sometimes they do not. So that is like the transcendentalists who sometimes really, share their spiritual knowledge, and sometimes they do not. That is based on the time, place, or circumstances. When would a transcendentalist not share the spiritual knowledge? When he would understand that this would be disturbing the minds of the materialists, and to be compassionate, because yasmano dvijite loko lokana dvijite chaya. So a devotee of the Lord never wants to disturb others and never wants to get disturbed by others. So in that mode, they are spreading the knowledge and preaching constantly so that others don't get disturbed, but at the same time, they also don't get disturbed. So sometimes they share the knowledge, sometimes they are silent, just trying to understand when the person is ready to accept the knowledge, and then they provide the knowledge. Otherwise, the person can become, inimical to the very knowledge that they are sharing, and even to the devotional service. And sometimes there is fish in the shallow water, and in the autumn season now the sun is shining and the water is going down. So this is representing that the fish is going through so much tribulation in the water, being heated by the scorching sun now that is coming out, because there is no more clouds in the autumn season. The sky is clear of clouds and the sun is shining, and the heat of the sun is feeling that scorching heat, and suddenly it's getting bewildered that how is this water going down and but not leaving this shallow stream. That is like a householder who is staying with his household, just seeking sense gratification and undergoing various kind of disturbances, various kind of miseries, material miseries basically, and is constantly tormented. And just like the water is going down in these streams, that way the life is passing by, the time is passing by, soon the death will be encroaching. So unaware of this fact, they stay just like the fishes who stay in the shallow streams. And sages, when the mud clears and the plants go before their unripened stages, that is just like the sages when they have grown spiritually and they are letting go their egotism and possessiveness, which includes the possessiveness for their, property, their wealth, and even their family. So just like the great sages, they are, as things are becoming clear, the mud is getting removed, all the debris is removed, and the plants are growing very nicely. That's like the sages who have given all their material attachments and are continuously engaged in devotional service, advancing very nicely. Now, earlier, during the rainy season, the rivers, they had become swelled up and they were agitating, they were entering the ocean, agitating the ocean. So that was like the case of a yogi whose impure mind is constantly agitated with the constant influx of desires. But now in the autumn season, the lakes and oceans, they appear very silent, very calm. That's like the mind of sage, which has desisted all material gratifications, all material activities has stopped and has now attained peace. So that's like the mind of a sage. And during this time, farmers, they build mud walls around, for the water. Why? Because there is not going to be any rain anymore. Maybe sometimes rain happens during the autumn season, but not much as it was happening during the rainy season. So they want to keep the water control. So that is like a yogi who is trying to control the senses. But better than detaching the senses is to engaging the senses in devotional service. That is a better way. So they are engaging the water with these mud walls in the right purpose of irrigating the fields. So that's how they are using. And at night time, the sky that shines brilliantly. So that is revealing that when one is in Krishna consciousness, when one is engaged in devotional service, they shine very brilliantly, just like, because of the, injunctions of the Vedic scriptures, because they are enlightened, the soul is getting nourished. So in the case of a bird and a pigeon, the pigeon represents the body while the bird represents the soul. So it is very important to nourish the bird and not just keep cleaning up and shining the cage. So this is where the bird, the soul is getting proper nourishment, and so they are shining. And at night time, full moon appears, surrounded by stars. As Shukdev Goswami is revealing, that is Lord Krishna who appeared in Vrindavan, surrounded by all the Vrishnis, all the descendants of Yadu dynasty, all the Vrishnis, they are surrounding him. And except for gopis, all forgot suffering due to the fragrant wind. So the wind is still bringing the nice fragrant breeze that's flowing from the flowers and which are growing in the lakes. And so everyone is feeling relieved except the gopis, because gopis, every time Lord Krishna would leave in the morning, their minds would be agitated and they would be in anxiety, thinking Lord Krishna is barefoot and he may be getting so much, they may be getting so much difficulty when walking the land. The pebbles and the thorns could be hurting his lotus feet. They are so soft, softer than the lotus petals. So they were in agitation. But when they would see the Lord in the evening, they would feel joyful, they would be rejuvenated. They will feel the transcendental bliss and the pleasure of seeing the Lord. So in autumn, another thing that happens is everything becomes fertile. So this is where Srila Prabhupada explains that, in a household life, the ladies, they become pregnant and they are, awaiting offspring. Same thing happens with the animals and in the fishes. So everything is so nicely enjoying and everything is so nicely nourished that at that time, materially everything seems to be growing. The cows, the udders are filled with milk because they are giving birth to the calves, and they, so much is happening during this time that the udders are filled with milk. And when Lord Krishna calls the cows, so Nand Maharaj has 800,000 cows. So when he calls, so these cows who are finding it very difficult to move because of heavy udders, they come running to Lord Krishna because he is all attractive. He is, beauty personified, Madan Mohan. He has the beauty of more than a crore, 10 millions cupids, Kamdev. So you can imagine, so beautiful is Lord Krishna. And when he calls with his sweet voice, when he plays on his Venu, the flute, and through the flute he is calling those cows, they come running to him. And when they come, these udders become wet because the milk starts to flow due to the love, the emotion, the sweetness they experience, the transcendental bliss they experience when they are approaching Lord Krishna. So this is inconceivable beauty of Vrindavan during the autumn sign. And except the night blooming kubut, all lotuses bloomed. So what does this represent? So Shukdev Goswami is revealing that at this particular time, this just like, at night and when everything is flourishing, the thieves and rogues who only appear at night time, just like that, on the kumut lotus, that only blooms at night time. All other lotuses, they bloom during the daytime with the coming of sunshine, so sunrise. So all other lotuses are blooming, and when a righteous king is well established, then all these thieves and rogues, they are subdued, they are caught and they are put in jail and they are punished. So that bad activities stop and everything looks nice, the whole environment becomes very enriched. So this is where this chapter ends, glorifying the autumn and fall season, means again the rainy season and the autumn season. And so many metaphors have been used which can be further used as analogies by us to understand various situations. When someone's mind is pure, that is like the autumn sky where the moon is shining brightly, all the clouds have been driven away. Or when we are getting, the satsang is happening, with the Ishta Koshti is happening, the devotees are discussing transcendental matters. That is just like the white clouds during the daytime, which are glowing by the sunlight and spreading the sunlight with reflection as well as refraction and making it more bright and beautiful during the daytime. So many wonderful metaphors are discussed in this chapter. So this is where we end this chapter. Gantha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. And now we'll be doing Narasimhadev prayers for the protection of whole world. And we hope that you are taking all proper care and you are safe and sound. We pray for your welfare as well. So let's do Narasimha prayer. Please join us. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlad Lad Daine, Prahlad Lad Daine, Hiranyakashi Purvaksha, Hiranyakashi Purvaksha, Shilatanka Nakhalaye, Shilatanka Nakhalaye, Hito Nasingha Parato Nasingha, Hito Nasingha Parato Nasingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasingha, Vahe Nasingha, Hidaye Nasingha, Vahe Nasingha, Hidaye Nasingha, Narasinghamadin Sharanam Prapadye, Narasinghamadin Sharanam Prapadye, Tav Kar Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shingham Dalita Hiranyakashipu Kano Bhringa Keshavaditya Narhari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Tav Kar Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Shingham Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bhringam Keshavaditya Narhari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasimhadev 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna